there? Yeah. You give me 1st Ezra 5 or 2nd Ezra 5. Start at 22.
The 2nd Ezra 5 and 22. And my soul recovered the spirit of understanding, and I began to talk with the Most High again. Verse 22.
This is after he fasted. All right. So now guess what? You know, you just recovering, building up back. All right. Go ahead.
Verse 23. It said, O Yahweh, that bearest rule of every wood of the earth, and of all the trees thereof, thou hast chosen thee only one vine.
Right? Now, what they're talking about? All right, somebody could get Mark 8 and 44. All right, what is the trees? What's the vine that you're talking about? All right.
Mark chapter 8 and 24. See, and he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking.
All right, which is what? Men as trees walking, showing you that when you talk about that trees and the vine, it's talking about the different nations. All right, or in other words, people. You see?
This is John 15 and 1. John 15 and 1, it says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, take it away, and every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, and that it may bring forth more fruit. Now are ye clean through my words, which I spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bring forth fruit itself except it abide in the vine. Right? And basically here the vine, the one vine is talking about Israel. Right? Because Yahweh is the one who all these nations come forth out of. But which all of the people is considered also as vine. But there's a one particular vine that he's talking about, which is Israel. Right? Which will go back to what? The elect. Right? Because out of the 18 nations, the Most High have chosen one nation, which is Israel, which is Yasharahla. Right? And in Israel, he have chosen the next vine. That's why the scripture tells you in 2nd Ezra, I think is 9, that let the cluster of grape remain. So the grape now go back to the elect who he have chosen. Right? It didn't go into these other nations. Right? Yeah, there is it. Oh, let me read 5, right? It says, I am the vine, ye are the branches. See, and tell you exactly who's the because Yahweh is the head of Israel, right? He's the head. The scripture says he's the first fruit, right? The first fruit of the dead, right? He's the beginning and the ending. You understand? And Israel come out to him first. How do we know that? You go to the book of Genesis. Israel was chosen. That was the first nation. That's why it is called Yasharahla. The name was given to us. Yasharahla, Prince of Power. You go to the word Prince, you go back to first. So, I mean, you can't get clearer than that. Go ahead.
So, like, go ahead. Yeah, this is Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 8. It says, when the Most High had divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Edom, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. And this is separation right there, showing that Israel is the Most High inheritance and not the other nations. It says, for the Lord had appointed this people, Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
Yeah. 2nd Ezra 5 and 24.
You could even go into Isaiah chapter 5, it tell you about the vineyard. And it tell you directly it is Israel. You know, but
even Ezekiel 31 too.
Yep. Yeah, that tell you it's straight right there. Go ahead.
And this is 2 Edges 5 and 24. And of all lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit, and of all the flowers thereof one lily.
Yeah, can't, because there's only one nation is where this water gonna dwell. Alright, this water gonna only be found in the nation of Israel. Alright, go ahead.
Yeah, verse 25. And of all the depths of the sea, thou hast filled thee one river, and of all builded cities, thou hast allowed Zion unto thyself.
Exactly. Alright, and Zion is unto who? YAHWAH Calling. Like the brother just read, Jacob is his inheritance. Alright? Go ahead.
Verse 26. And of all the fowls that are created, thou hast named thee one dove, and of all the cattle that are made, thou hast provided thee one sheep.
You see, if I'm quick, right? You see, the Most High created all living things, but He choose out of each and everything His favorite. That's right. He choose a favorite. Isn't that amazing, bro? Yet, and he say, hey, I hate this and I hate that. There's a balance, bro. There's a God of balance. How could you get a God that loves everything? God loves the sinner and hate the sin. That make any sense? How could the Most High hate the law, who He created, and love you, the sinner, who breaking the law? It doesn't make no sense. Brother.
This is Psalm 78 and verse 5. For He established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which He commanded our fathers that they should make them known to their children. Go back to that Abby saying just now, this water will only dwell in one nation. Right? The nation of Israel.
Let us speak up here. Going back to this, she was afraid that God loved the sin, love the sinner but hate the sin. The sin is the act of the sinner. Yeah, which is breaking the law. How I could hate the act but love the act? How? Who's responsible for the act? Why?
Because the scripture says sin dwelleth inside you. So once the sin is you gotta be hated. Because it dwelleth in you.
This 2 Edges 5 and 27. And among all the multitude of people thou hast got thee one people, and unto this people whom thou lovest thou gavest a law that is approved of all.
So now we tell you what, that the Most High select one nation out of everybody that He created. Alright? And He gave them a law. Alright? Which law? The law that is written in the scriptures. Alright? It tell you that in Deuteronomy 4 and 6. Alright? It tell you that in Sirach chapter 17 and 10. Check 17 and 10 for the Bible.
17, 17.
Huh?
2, 17, 17.
What?
In Sirach chapter 17 and verse 17. For in the division of nations of the whole earth. 10. Verse 10. And the elect shall praise His holy name.
Go ahead.
Besides this, He gave them knowledge and the law of life for an heritage.
Right, and then we're talking about what? That the Most High give the law of life and heritage unto Israel. Alright, so when you go back to Jeremiah, when they talk about you shall discontinue from the heritage, it's really telling you that you discontinue from the law that the Most High gave you. You see?
Yeah.
Right, 2 Edges 5 and 27. Among all the multitude of people thou hast got thee one people, And unto this people whom thou lovest, thou gavest a law that is approved of all. Verse 28. And now, O Yahweh, why hast thou given this one people over unto many, and upon the one roof hast thou prepared others, and why hast thou scattered thy only one people among many?
Exactly, and this is the point to the lesson. All right, read it back up, Bishop.
Right, 2 Corinthians 5 and verse 28. And now, O Yahweh, why hast thou given this one people over to many?
Yeah, so the Most High had given Israel over unto these nations. All right, because when you look at it, like I'd like to say, there's no way, when you look at these people, there's no way that these people could take us. You see, we ought to be given into the hands of these people. All right, I know somebody pick Deuteronomy 28, push out. You get it?
Deuteronomy 28 to 47. Which part do you want?
Go ahead. Or you want 68?
Let me read it. See? It said, because thou servest not the power with joyfulness and gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. Right? So basically, because we didn't serve the Most High with gladness, the Most High will say, this curse is going to overtake us. That's right. It's going to overtake us because what? They couldn't take nothing from us. The Lord, Scripture tell you in Lamentation chapter 2 that the Most High made the right hand, which is Yahweh, to turn on us, to help these other nations to overtake us. Because they couldn't do it by themselves.
Exactly.
They couldn't do it. Right? 68 you wanted?
Because even today, all right, you could give these Edomites a head start and they still wouldn't win.
Done.
All right? That's why the goal is, the focus in this time is to oppress us, to keep us down. All right? Because if they level the playing field, hey, you're going to see a difference. And they know this. All right? I was watching an interview the other day, and this woman, she's a lecturer, and she asks to the white folks in the audience, how many of you would like to be treated the way the so-called black people are being treated? Not a single hand went up. All right? And she asked the question again, and not a single hand went up, and then she really broke down the question. All right? In other words, you wouldn't like to be seen in that light. All right? You know that racism exists. You know that how Esau Edom is oppressing us. All right? But you wouldn't like it for yourself. You see? But that doesn't negate the fact that it's coming for you. Yep. All right? And it's coming for you 1,000 times over.
Yep. Yep.
So,
yep.
You see?
Sure.
So like, yeah, go ahead.
What is 68?
Yeah, go ahead. 68. Yeah, read 68, Papa.
This is Deuteronomy 28 to 68.
64. This is 64.
Right, that was alright. 64. It says, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
See, exactly this it. The Most High will scatter us among all people. When you go to verse 15, it tells you that if you don't obey these laws.
Right, it says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh to observe to do all his commandment and his statute, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Exactly. All right. Now, one of the curses is that we're going to be scattered among these nations. All right. That they're going to have rule over us. That we're going to serve them in nakedness, in want of all things. All right. Even food, water, clothing.
Yeah.
See? What?
Deuteronomy 28 and 48. So therefore thou shalt serve thy enemy, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he be destroyed.
Exactly. All right. And if the Most High hadn't done that, all right, there was no way that these nations could have taken us. All right. We drive a fear into the hearts of these nations. All right, especially when we connect to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh. Somebody get Sirach 30 and what?
The Sirach 30 and verse 1. It says, he that loveth his son.
Jump down to 3.
Verse 3. Yeah. Sirach 30 and verse 3. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him.
But the point is that he that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy. Alright? And now the Most High, we being reconnected to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, the Most High teaching us, and we receiving back this knowledge.
That's right.
Alright, these nations are grieved. They are grieving.
That's right, man.
Alright, they are in fear. You see? Because they know what's coming. Alright? The strongholds have been broken. Alright? And it's just a few men. But in the time to come, the entire nation of Israel gonna get it right. Alright? And these other nations, they too gonna get it right. You see? But the thing that make it even worse, right? Like when we go back to the Deuteronomy, alright, it's like I'm a judge. And I know that the punishment for breaking this law is to sentence you to 1 year in prison. Alright? And I take it upon myself to give you a life imprisonment. Alright? And that's what Esau, Edom, and these other nations have done. Alright? Though we were given into their hands, you know, they took it to a whole new level. Alright? And they must be judged accordingly. They will be recompensed accordingly. You see?
Amos chapter 1 and 11 said, thus said the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did persecute his brother, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did not cast off it, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever.
Even to today, all right. Even to today, Esau, Edom, all right, have that same hatred towards Jacob.
That's right.
All right, perpetual hatred.
And it still show you that those same people are here, right? You get one more precept here.
Because, like for instance, I heard in the news, there were a lot of immigrants on the border of America. They're trying to get in there, and they basically catch up to them. A good number. They try to, go in trucks and so on. And basically, these people are in their own country, and they're making their homes uncomfortable. That they had no choice just to run to the land of the free, the land of dreams. You understand? But the swing is that these people are pressing them in the country to get them to run. They spend so much money. You understand? So they are oppressed. Jacob is oppressed. Right? And the trouble, right? It's so heavy in some countries that a man and his wife literally gotta look at each other and say, hey, in order for me you got divorced. Go with this man like they go there, you go after you, go with him, send for me. This crazy is going on right now. They're so desperate that when the wildest things, and hey, that's the judgment we are saying there is just be upon us and our children. Because you're stupid motherfuckers now, you're feeling exactly what it is the consequences of your words against Yahushua. Because at the end of the day, as much as Yahweh's Ba'Shem Yahushua say, hey, love it Israel more than me. These people call us our Lord. Yeah, I'm here, this skin grown, man. Because when you do think about it, hey, Israel oppressing you, but what Israel has done, you paying the worthy price. Yeah.
This is Obadiah chapter 1 and 8. Say, shall not I in that day, said the Lord, even destroy the wise man out of Edom, and understanding out of the mouth of Esau? He said, and thy mighty men, O Timon, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. You know that.
All right, because that's the judgment that is written for Esau Edom. All right, when you go into Job chapter 18, all right, to tell you that, hey, you're going to cut off, the Lord will not leave sons, nephews, or uncles, or nobody. All right, and why it specifically mentioned the male is because one male, it just take one male to bring back an entire nation. All right, so the Most High ain't going to leave none of Esau Edom.
I think gonna be the time like Amalek, you know, when Saul they go through with the ark. Lord will cut it off for sure this time.
Yeah, correct.
That precept?
So like the ark had a precept.
Done. This is Deuteronomy 22 and verse 25. It says, this day will I begin to put the dread on thee, and the fear of thee upon the nations that are under the whole heaven, who shall hear report of thee, and shall tremble and be in anguish because of thee.
All right, and this is what happening. These nations are in fear. All right, because they're seeing the dread. You see? Like at first, hey, we used to be afraid of certain things of these nations. All right, but hey, we stand boldly. All right, we come out here every week, you know, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, and we speak this word boldly, just as the apostles did before us. All right, because we in that same spirit. You see? And that's why they're in fear. Because when you really think about it, what we doing, all right, they have a reason to come against us. All right? But like the scripture says, they couldn't do Yahawashi anything because his time was not yet. All right? So and that's just to show how Yahweh, Yahawashi, you know, is in control. All right? That there's absolutely nothing that you could do against the prophets. All right?
Touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm.
No harm. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, we innocent towards this nation. Our sin is only to Yahweh Yahushai. The scripture tell you in the book of Obadiah, when you go down, it said, whilst we was going through a punishment, Esau, Edom, and these other heathen nations, the Hamites and so forth, hey, they joined hands in hand and put us in captivity because there's hatred towards us. That's why the Lord going to avenge us, because we are innocent. We ain't do them nothing.
Obadiah chapter 1 and 10. It says, for the violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the stranger carried away captive his forces, and the foreigners enter into the gates and cast lot upon Jerusalem, even thou was one of them.
You see? And when you look at these movies like Amistad and these things that do a little small depiction with the scripture to show you what was going on. Hey, 2/3 of our people was even doing that too. They was actually catching our people and putting help in Esau too. The scripture tell you in Maccabees chapter 1 and 11, and they went out of Israel, wicked men, said, hey, let me go and make counsel with the heathens them. Let me chime with them. There's a, hey, I got a quick precept. This is Joel 3 and verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Hey, a lot of these Hamites and so forth, hey, they was getting, when you look at the slave trade, they was actually taking wine, weaponry, and so forth from the Edomites as well, in regards to jigs. You see? It said, verse 4, yea, and what have ye to do with my people, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head. because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried unto your temples my godly precious things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, which go back to the Edomites, that ye might remove them far from their borders. Hey, they hand in hand even to this very day. That's why they got to go into captivity. That's why they got to pay for it.
Right.
There's Habakkuk 1 and verse 4. So therefore the law is slack, and judgment doeth never go forth. For the wicked doeth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. And so going back to what you said, you mentioned concerning the judgments and the things that, you know, when the things that the righteous judgment they're supposed to go forth, they ain't doing it. They go past, they break the barrier in which, you know, they're supposed to judge me. You understand?
That's right. There was no such thing in Israel. You waiting a life sentence in them thing. Right away when you commit a crime punishable by death is right away. Once you go through the law and find you guilty of that fact, you will be put to death. Now we saw God is spending a life sentence, and God is mentoring him. Alphabet boys inside in the cells. Right. Yeah. Right? You look at the history of butt breaking. It was actually in the whole Caribbean, but Jamaica was actually the forerunner for it. When you go through the article and you read it, hey, it's the most humiliating thing. They say a lot of Jakes actually run away. Some of them commit suicide.
There's like you manhood being taken away from you. You understand?
Hey, because the person the next man down, you know, the next man submitting yourself to the man. You understand? That's something for fuck with you, bro.
Why?
You understand? There's what, and one of the things that these elite know that what psychological damage this happened to you. That's why there's always have most of these men do this shit, or all of them. You understand? I must watch it. When these men do these things, it's bring out the feminine in them, even though they didn't have it. It's a spirit that's jump on them.
A lot of them, when you like among men, when you check the statistic, the majority is either in prison or they're homosexual. And these women can't get it. That they lower men. Unreal men. These women don't get the low unreal men. The majority of men are either in prison or they're homosexual.
They're not gonna get it until this system like gonna break it up. It's still right up here, but
Yeah, a lot of women crying out these days for men where the wooden standing up here. No, because a lot of people, I'm telling you this, it may sound like joke. A lot of them that take the job, they're not functioning properly. You understand? They're not functioning properly. And these women going out and they're talking about it boldly. You know, hey, even though you tell these, hey, listen, there's your husband still, you gotta stay with him, he's still under the law. Yeah. Oh, what the fuck law? What law you talking about? You know, the nigga woman started to come out. Well, go ahead, I can say something.
She got David again, no. But the thing is, remember in these Jews, they were certain they mentioned they executing the God gene. Your testament, your testicle. You take the way, you take the God out of the law. You see?
Going back to Psalms 83, it says you want stop, cut them off from being a nation.
And all of them they hear, the nation they hear, the amount of people that you ejaculate. Well, the amount of slaves that you ejaculate are the most people that put the spirit. You understand?
If I could add something, Akim, real quick. Recently now they find that a lot of babies born with polio, right? You know, due to the same juice. Huh? Yeah, they getting babies that it just stay just and spike up for the past 2 years. You know.
This Zechariah chapter 11 and verse 3. There is a voice of the howling of the shepherd, for the glory is spoiled. A voice of a roaring of a young lion, for the pride of Jordan is spoiled. Thus said Yahawah, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose oppressor slay them, and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be Yahawah, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. Right? So, going back, the people that make, wicked lives, that make no covenant. So break the people. They know the people that are oppressed due to the system, and they still, they support their father's work. They are the father of the devil.
They know how to break their own people. They know how to do it. How to fuck with your mental and psychological.
Alright? Yeah, so basically this people now in this place. The oppressors slay them. I will themselves not guilty. And this people would say now until this day would not, consider the ways.
And this is First Maccabees chapter 2. First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 10. What nation had not had a part in our kingdom and gotten of our spoils, and all our ornaments are taken away? Of a free woman, she is become a born slave.
All right, and that's Israel. All right, Israel had become a born slave. All right, all these other nations have had a part of us, of our riches. All right, and our riches, even go back to the people. Like they say in the corporate world today, human resources. The labor. All right, they had us in captivity. We built every nation upon this face of this earth. All right, we make it what it is today, or what the history shows. You see, when you go back to the Egyptians, we was the one that built it up. All right, when you go back to the Babylonians, we was the ones that built it up. The Persian Empire, we were the ones that built it up. All right, the Greeks, the Romans, all right, and the infamous America. Even China. All right? Jakes was the ones that bring these empires to the state that it is today. All right? Or to what the history show.
Hey, it's from my act too, slavery is a normal thing. It is normal. Because when you look at, as I'm going into all these empires, they're built by slavery. You see, because when you look at the first empire that was set up by the Egyptians, they had to put us in slavery. All right, you see, the Most High put a spirit to save the earth from famine, but then it was prophesied that they're going to rule over us. That vision that Abraham had.
If I could add to build a kingdom, you got to get slaves.
That's right.
That's why Yasharahla can be so big.
That's right.
Because we got all the other nations as slaves.
That's right.
17-1.
You understand? It's a big kingdom we got to build.
When you get slave, it's a sign to show that you're rich.
That's right.
There's the scripture tell you in Revelation how America been made so rich. It was the souls of men.
It's like in construction. You understand? Even in the time of Egypt, the slaves were basically men working to build the pyramid of build Egypt. Right? And like in this time, there are a lot of oppressors
in this time, you know, the president married to me.
Hey, you look at
That's why
yeah, you look at how America is built off of the back of our people, the bloodshed, right? The scripture said the prey departed not. Wanted the bloody city, the prey departed not. Hey, Esau got all the wealth you could think about, yet still inside the fight, still want more blood, still want soul. That's why they're pushing this MOTV. They want permanently for wipe us off of the nation. Because why the Lord still multiplying Israel. You look at all these celebrities and what they got. Right? You take away all the Jakes are buying no food or wherever these nations ain't get nothing. We actually look at it. Look at it, the so-called pandemic. Elam just saying down in his shop, and Jake their all night party in sport. You seeing them out of the nation outside, sir? Them man looking at the contribution that Jake will make to keep them rich.
Right? If you talk about the team continue, you get enough, but this man, hey, you get, he really bought it, you know? Everything must come out. I'm still looking for it. Let me show you your righteous. The scripture tell you that, the scripture tell you once you don't know Yahawah Banyamyan, is a beast, right? And Proverbs say that a righteous man know how to treat his beast.
That's right.
So you could tell that this man is unrighteous. You don't even know how to treat the people that is under you. Because this way you look at us, see? You understand?
It's Deuteronomy 28.
Hey, it tell you now, Silakia, let me get this precept real quick. To show you how unrighteous this man is, right? Silakia, I can give it to you now. Right, it say, go ahead, I can give it. Go ahead.
So Deuteronomy 28 and verse 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy laborers shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up. You see, we're going back and saying, hey, we build all these things. We labor. All these kingdoms was we labor. Right? But when these nations eat it up, they take this, you know, the reparation for it. You know what I mean? We build this great kingdom. Right? You know, I'll continue on. Right? And it says, and thou shalt knowest not, and thou shalt know, and thou shalt be only oppressed and cursed always. Right? And that's talking about we. There's the state that we are right now.
When you look at this devil Esau, right? When he paint the image as the likeness, Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, they cover the faces of the judges, right? When you look at King James and the Dark Ages when Jake was ruling Europe and these places, right? You watch these paintings when they got now, they put it up like if Edomites was actually these people. When it is Jake. When you look at the Vikings and these men, these was Jakes. These was Jakes.
But it didn't add up because how could you, the Edomite had the Edomite be slave? Right? It didn't add enough. It could never add up.
That's right.
You understand? The Edomites are the Edomites enslaved.
That's right.
Then you ain't gonna show you ain't gonna do no judgment. You understand? Because remember, it's the hatred that you have towards a nation. There's a way you kind of working and put on them in. Because the scripture tell us what? Do unto Babylon double fold. You understand? Give unto her double. Because when there's how much the most I hate Esau. Right. Along with himself.
That's right. Scripture say change the land names, conquer the land and change the names. Mm-hmm. Hey, you look at the wickedness with Esau do. A lot of these nations, them the name change. Mm-hmm. To hide. That's why the most say you're gonna destroy the covering chaos. Mm-hmm. And we destroyed it by the way, the prophets, the word of the Most High. Through the prophets. You got these we call it Kawash. The Cushites, the Ethiopians, they all in there never been conquered. When you go through the history, they've been conquered. You got Jakes running around hollering their shit. You see?